Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding, we talk about how to raise money on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and specifically today, I want to get into some of the myths that are out there that have been circling the internet about crowdfunding. What should you know before going into a campaign? What are some of the myths that are not true when it comes to this whole medium of raising money online? Let's get into it in today's video. The first myth is actually kind of what I thought when I was first getting into the industry. So I first got into this industry in 2012. I started my blog, crowdcrux.com, started my podcast. I started to get into the industry and put out more and more content. And when I was first getting into it, I was kind of thinking that this would be a fad. You know, we're seeing these mega successes on Kickstarter, like the Pebble Watch. We were seeing movies being filmed for millions of dollars. It was incredible to watch, and it almost felt like this is a fad. There's no way that like some guy raising money to make potato salad is going to be a sustainable funding mechanism of any kind. This guy raised $50,000 just to make potato salad, and everyone was like laughing, and it felt like something, it was like a bubble that was going to burst. But that was many, many years ago. You know, even before 2012, we were seeing the emergence of new crowdfunding campaigns. We were seeing the Oculus Rift, all of these different things. I think so many reporters and so many journalists have sort of said that this is something that is not going to stay. And yet, we're looking at, 7 years later? I'm recording this video in 2019. We are looking at this 7 years later, and still crowdfunding is around. And not only is it around, but it's flourishing. We're seeing so many interesting, innovative products come to light. We're seeing so many new entrepreneurs go from having nothing to building a six-figure business, a seven-figure business, having 10 employees, having 12 employees. It's incredible to me, and it's been my mission to document this for you and to also keep my finger on the pulse when it comes to what's working, when it comes to crowdfunding campaigns. That's why I run the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast, which you can grab in iTunes or Spotify. You can listen on YouTube if you want to, but I try to sort of present to you what I'm seeing every single day, because I think I have sort of a skewed vision of this just because I'm always working in this industry. I want to share with you what's working, what's not, and to show you how this is not a fad. This is something that is here to stay, and I don't know how long that's going to be, but it seems to me this has fundamentally become a new way in which innovation is generated. It's very similar in the light of venture capital or angel investing. This is the way that new products are developed and new products are discovered. The second myth is that in order to be successful with crowdfunding, you gotta be really freaking lucky and you gotta get a viral campaign. That could not be further from the truth. Of course, there are always these other examples out there of viral campaigns, or it really snowballed in the media. It got lots of virality and social shares on social bookmarking sites like Reddit or on Facebook. It's just shared a lot, and that does happen from time to time. But more often than not, people are following a proven plan to success. And when I was getting started, I was kind of like obsessed about this. I was like, what is it that they're doing? Why are these campaigns being funded? I don't understand it. How can you get strangers to back your campaign? So I took a lot of time researching this, talking with many different successful campaigns, going behind the inner workings of how these campaigns really run. And I put this all together in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. Now, this book is basically a step-by-step guide to launching a successful crowdfunding campaign that has proven tactics that are virtually guaranteed to get you funding. This is what the big guys are doing. This is what the big players are doing basically behind the scenes. You know, we all see a bunch of money being raised. We see the funding meter going up and up and up. But we don't actually always see or notice what's happening behind the scenes because we just don't have access, honestly. So my book there is designed to give you access to this formula, which I'll link up down below in the description. There is now a proven plan to success, and if you follow this, you will be far more likely not only to be successful, but to also exceed your fundraising goal. Because we know, like, you set a goal on Kickstarter, and like you're setting a $20,000 goal, but all these campaigns are actually raising $50,000 or $100,000. They're always blowing past their goal. So I share with you kind of the secret behind that and how you can also execute that for your specific campaign. The third myth is that you really need a super big social media following. You need lots of people who are backing you, or people who know who you are. And if you don't have a big following, it's not even worth it to do crowdfunding. That could not be further from the truth. I actually have a great YouTube video out there where I was at this Latinas in Business conference, and I gave this really intensive talk going through some of the secrets of crowdfunding. That video is public out there on YouTube. And in that talk, I said that the majority of campaigns is actually not their social media following that contributes to so much of their funding. It's actually their email list. And more than that, what kind of jumpstarts this process is your friends and family and the people that are close to you in order to get a little bit of seed funding to seed and prime the pump. And then you start to get discovered by other backers and super backers on the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo marketplace. You start hitting some key milestones. You might go out in an Indiegogo newsletter or a crowdfunding newsletter of some kind. You might get more pickup by journalists. This is about designing a launch event. And there is a way to do that that goes beyond just social media. Of course, social media does help. It's obviously going to bring in some backers. It's going to create way more credibility for you. You can also test out some creative stuff. But that being said, you don't necessarily need a large following. The way that I like to think of it is you have time and you have money when you are a business owner. If you have lots of time, you have a lot of time to build up a social media following, to put out organic media, to gather organic followers, these different things. But for people who don't have time, you obviously have paid media. So you're basically spending money to get results and to compress things into a much shorter period of time. So that could be doing Facebook ads, that could be paid promotions, that could be influencer networking and actually accessing their network of people that they've already built up, building up an email list, all these kinds of things you can do with paid marketing or with organic marketing. So you don't necessarily need a super big social media follow in order to be successful with crowdfunding. The next secret is that in order to be successful as an entrepreneur or with crowdfunding, all too often we see foreigners who come on a crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter and they kind of feel a little bit hesitant. They're like, I don't know if the platform is really going to be receptive to me. I don't know if I should do the video because I don't speak super good English. They feel a little bit of uncertainty and they feel kind of a hesitancy around that. But I have documented this again and again. It does not matter where in the world you are hailing from. We have successful crowdfunding campaigns coming out of France, out of Italy, out of Hong Kong, like all these different locations. It does not matter nowadays where you are located. It can have some implications depending on the type of product and the flavor and the culture there, obviously, when it comes to if you're gonna get local backers or you're not. But at the same time, because the internet is worldwide, you can design a marketing campaign that basically will access your key buyers very easily. It doesn't matter where you are. You have people who are running a crowdfunding campaign and they're in a country doing the digital nomad thing. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can be successful with crowdfunding. I think that one of the bigger myths that I see, and this is just because I think this is like a side effect of so many different campaigns out there having really glossy graphics and a really nice looking campaign page design, and they've hired someone in order to put this together, that you need a super big budget if you're going to be successful with crowdfunding, and that's just completely not true. I document this on the podcast. I have people who have put their campaign together themselves, who they shot a video where they didn't spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get that video made. They obviously spent some time making a nice looking campaign page. They actually put some thought into the video and how that's going to create some interest in their product and what do people need to see in order to become interested and to back it and to believe the promises that they're making on the campaign page. But by all means, you do not need to have a huge funding budget in order to be successful with a crowdfunding campaign. And also, I would say that even to add on to that, it kind of depends on the level in which you want to be successful. So we see so many different campaigners nowadays who their first crowdfunding campaign was kind of like a test phase. Maybe they raised $50,000, they rethink everything, they come out with a version 2 of the product, the version 2 raises $200,000, and they magnify it over time. And these are serial crowdfunding campaigners that are coming back to Kickstarter, coming back to Indiegogo, they're running campaigns again, and every single campaign is getting larger and larger and larger. We see this a lot actually in the board game, tabletop, comic book categories where creators are launching multiple campaigns and they're doing it time after time after time. It's kind of actually become their business model for their actual business. So you don't necessarily have to have a super huge budget, and even if you want to, you can use the first campaign as sort of a testing phase for learning how this whole crowdfunding thing works. I want to take a second to introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Fulfillment. Fulfillment is a turnkey solution for helping you get the products out there to your customers and to your backers. Whether you're doing a Kickstarter campaign or an Indiegogo campaign, eventually you're going to have to do order fulfillment and get those rewards out there into the hands of your backers. So what these guys do is they basically offer a streamlined service for you, and they take all that headache away. I highly recommend outsourcing this element of your campaign because it's going to make everything easier in the future. If you want to learn more about Fulfillment, I'm going to include a link down below in the description of this YouTube video, but in addition, you can also check it out on the web at fulfillrite.com, and you can learn more there. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the video. The next biggest myth usually comes from people that I'm working with outside of, the crowdfunding industry. So a lot of times when people look in on crowdfunding, they see it and they immediately think, oh, okay, this is like the same thing as Amazon, or this is the same thing as online buying, or it's just basically like a pre-order for a product. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because first of all, with crowdfunding, you're not going to get this product until 3 months later, 6 months later. Some campaigns, it could even be a year or 2 years down the road, and backers are okay with that because they're supporting the innovative process. Of course, you got to be crystal clear about your expected shipping times and these different things, but that's a remarkable difference to me when it comes to crowdfunding campaign versus an Amazon buyers. An Amazon buyer is expecting their product in 2 days. They know that this is a legit company. They know that this company is regularly producing products. They're expecting the product in 2 days if they have Amazon Prime, or whatever. With crowdfunding, this is a person who's putting together a new product. They're designing it, they're doing the prototyping, maybe this is the first time they're manufacturing it in large quantities. There's a little bit more wiggle room there when it comes to being able to deliver a little bit later at a date, but that does not mean as a creator that you shouldn't necessarily work to get this out there as fast as possible. You should, and you should also work as hard as possible to deliver those reward tiers. Make sure that you go follow through with them, because if you don't, it's just going to hurt your brand and hurt the people that have actually supported your campaign and hurt crowdfunding as a whole. The next myth that I see with entrepreneurs that are usually a little bit on the older side is that they don't believe they can actually run a crowdfunding campaign, because they think that this is kind of for like the yuppies or the younger generation or people who know what social media is. You don't have to personally use social media in order to use social media for your business. You don't have to take like interesting lifestyle photos with a product, even if you necessarily you don't care about that in your own life. But that might be something you have to do with your business. Like, there's a difference between business and your personal life. And the cool thing now about crowdfunding was when you were first getting started way back when, maybe you had to learn how to master these things like all yourself. And that's what I continue to teach on this YouTube channel, is how do you actually do these things? How do you put together the video? How do you actually pitch things? How do you have a pre-launch? Like all that kind of stuff. I try and teach that on this channel, and also in my online courses to go much more in depth into that. That being said, you don't necessarily need to have all these skills yourself. You can surround yourself with a team of people who know how to pull this off and know how to run and put together an effective crowdfunding campaign. That's one of the reasons why I offer one-on-one coaching calls with different clients. If you already have an existing business and you're looking to maybe expand that, or you're looking to invest in a new business launch, or you're looking to add on a product line and you're like, how can this crowdfunding thing work for me, or does it even have a good fit? That's a great time to book a one-on-one coaching call with me, because we can go in depth into your specific project. And I can also talk about the ways that I can help you going forward if you don't want to run this whole thing yourself. And you also need a little bit of, I guess, help when it comes to putting together the page, doing the marketing, these different things, because you don't feel as competent with that. You either have your own skills, you have your own time, you have your own money. In order to pull off something that is larger than yourself, you have to assemble a team of people who have diverse skill sets and who know how to get the results in which you're seeking. The next myth is that when it comes to your pitch and your reward tiers and your perks, a lot of people think that they can just like do mugs or hats or shirts or t-shirts and things that these can sell, when they're selling maybe a product that's like a hardware or design or technology or a board game or something like that, or they're an author. Of course, you could always put together swag, you can always do these things, but it's really not the most compelling reward tier. I would try and think a little bit deeper about, what do your backers really want from you? What is the problem that they're trying to solve? Why is it that they would support and back this product? Why do they want to see this product created and exist in the world? Anyone out there can brainstorm reward tiers. I've helped people over the years brainstorm reward tiers time and time again. Even when they've said to me, Sal, I have no idea what to offer for rewards or perks on this campaign. Can you help me out? There are always ideas. It's just a brainstorming session, and it always starts with the backer or with the customer and working backwards, understanding what are their desires, life goals, what problem are they trying to solve with this particular product, why are they even interested in this, how do they relate to the activity, if it's like backpacking or if it's fitness or whatever, or board gaming, how do they relate to this, how can you offer an experience which they're going to be excited about, or how do you offer products that you can make and that you can create that are are going to solve the problem that they experience in their life. Another big myth I would think about a lot of the times when I'm working with a client and they aren't actually seeing the results that they want, it actually comes down to traffic. So there's a big myth out there, if you've never done any kind of online marketing, that you just need lots and lots and lots of traffic to a crowdfunding campaign page in order to be successful. And unfortunately, that's not true. And here's why. It's not about just sending traffic or visitors to a campaign. It's about sending the right people to the campaign, sending the right people who also suffer from the problem that your product solves, that are in the target demographic, that have the money to spend, that care about this, that understand what you're trying to do, maybe have seen a little bit of a teaser before that, either being on your email list or doing a Facebook ad or whatever. You want to send people to the page who are the right individuals. Think of it this way. Would you rather have in a room, 1,000 teenagers and you're giving a talk to, and you're trying to pitch a product? Well, I mean, that's a lot of people. That's great. Maybe one or two is going to buy it, but likely they don't have the money. Let's just say they don't even suffer from the problem that the product solves. It's almost like you're talking to, your speech or your offer falls on deaf ears. Or would you rather have a room of 50 high qualified business entrepreneurs who have $1 million companies and who are interested in or looking to solve the product or the problem which your product solves? I'd rather pick the second example. Even though you have less people, they actually suffer from the problem. They have the money to spend to actually solve that problem, and they care about and are interested in what you're saying. So always think about, when it comes to traffic, who are these people? Who are these individuals? And how can you drive the right people to your campaign? That myth, if nothing else, will save you a lot of time and a lot of money and make it so you have a higher converting campaign. I hope you found this video to be helpful as you're gearing up to the launch of your new crowdfunding campaign. And also come subscribe if you want more content like this, and give me a thumbs up so that other people know that this content is useful. In addition, go and check out some of the links that I got for you below in the description, because I got a lot of great extra kind of content there. My book, you can book a coaching session, more free material, all these different things you can find as a link in the description. And finally, I'm starting to get into designing merch, and I kind of want to make my channel a little bit more, I guess, value-based and value-centric. So one of my other YouTube channels I have is called the Life of Freedom YouTube channel, where I basically post vlog content, where I post online business advice, all that kind of stuff. And I got an awesome hat here that just recently got made. It's called a Life of Freedom hat. If you're interested and you resonate with that message of living a life of freedom, I'll include a link down below where you can check out more about some of the apparel that I'm making. For me, crowdfunding is about way more than just getting money and getting funds. It's actually creating freedom in your life. It's getting you the funds that you need in order to build an online business and finally be your own boss. It's having a creative say to work on what you want to work on, to be where you want to be, to work with who you want to. I think crowdfunding is a launch pad in order to build an online business. And it's also one of the things that can unlock way more freedom in your life. And that's kind of where the inspiration came behind that hat. So if you're interested, I'll include a link down below so you can see a little bit more about some of the apparel that I've been working on. But my name is Salvador Briggman. Thank you so much for tuning into this YouTube video, and I will see you next time.